So joining us for this segment to discuss these matters, we have Dr. Clement Nze, who is the Director of Engineering at Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency. He joins us from our studios in Abuja. And here in Lagos is Professor Emmanuel Oladipo, who is a Professor of Climatology. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Well, Prof, I mean, we had a national disaster. There was an emergency declared in the country. Several states were hit by flood, about 100 people killed. But people always talk about lessons learned with the kind of actions they've seen us take, policy direction. Mm-hmm. From your perspective, did you see us taking the right steps in the policies we put in place afterwards?
Thank you very much. Let me commend Chinese. I'm not being fatalistic or whatever, but I want to commend you for always raising issues of the environment.
Thank you.
Challenges the environment poses to us. We are now in the dry season. Nobody's even talking about floods anymore. And that has always been the pattern. Whenever there's a challenge of flood, at the peak of the rainy season, everybody runs helter-skelter, and we look for palliative solutions. But we have never been able to sit down and comprehensively address the issues that we need to address in order to be able to take precautions against the coming rainy season, when another flood will definitely occur. If not in those areas where it occurred this year, in other areas of the country.
So our guest in Abuja, Dr. Nze, Clement Nze, I mean, a national disaster declared in 4 states, and it's not the first time. It killed over 100 people. What are we doing wrong?
Thank you for having me on the program. Let me correct quickly 2 issues. One, I am engineer, not a doctor. And secondly, I'm the Director General, Nigeria Hydrological Service Agency.
Thank you for that. On the question, the national disaster declared in 4 states after the devastating flood hit several parts of the country, what would you say we've learned from this?
Okay, thank you. The Nigeria Hydrological Service Agency is at the upstream sector of disaster management in Nigeria. It is at the upstream sector in the sense that we predict the occurrence of flood before it happens. In 2018, the agency, before the onset of real rainfall or flooding season in Nigeria, which usually occurs between the months of July, August, and September, the agency went public to present the flooding scenarios across the country, state by state. And the agency followed it up by periodically making releases, updates, as the flood was being propagated from various parts of Nigeria, and especially through two transboundary rivers in Nigeria, rivers Niger and Benue. And the relevant agencies were always kept abreast. For instance, before the national disaster was declared on 17th of September, before the national disaster was declared by NEMA on 17th of September, the agency presented before a stakeholders forum organized by NEMA the entire scenarios, what was happening and what was going to happen in Nigeria, especially the states that are contiguous to the rivers Niger and Benue, because we saw the flood coming. And it was on the set of NISA, the agency's predictions, the agency's warning, that Mr. President gave approval to the DG, NEMA, to activate a section of the Act establishing NEMA, which empowers it to declare national disaster. And it came to pass, unfortunately, as predicted by the agency, Nigeria Hydrological Service Agency.
Yeah, so we're just wondering, I mean, we put in these agencies and having put in place all those steps, the question still is, from your assessment, are we taking those seriously?
It is quite unfortunate that it has become a recurring decimal that much as the warnings are issued on time, relevant stakeholders, and especially state governments, often do not take any precautionary measures ahead of time until the damage is done and they begin to call on NEMA for relief.
So, I mean, from the gentleman in the studio in Abuja, he said they declared a national disaster and it came to pass.
Let me just say clearly, Nigeria is a very unique country. We have many agencies, many institutions that do their job. And this agency is doing its job very well. The job of this agency is to help us to forecast and be able to say what is likely to happen so that people can take precaution. But beyond that, beyond NEMA, beyond the hydrological services, what is needed is to have a sit-down technical approach, a comprehensive approach. We know where the floods are likely to occur. Most of the floods are likely to be flash floods, basically along the two major rivers, supported by other rivers from Sokoto, Kaduna, and others. What is difficult in planning to utilize the water resources of these two rivers very well by having a comprehensive plan that will address both the flash flood and the flood plain management.
So is that a combination of both the federal and state governments sitting down together?
Exactly. In which case, the federal government will lead the process. Let's have a comprehensive plan. How do we manage these waters? If they come in, what do we need to do? Why should a nation like this be complaining about these floods when 6 months of the year, many parts of this region, don't have rain? Can't we utilize this water for irrigation and all other things at the peak of the dry season by storing them, by creating small dams along this river banks so that we can always have water reduced? So the further we predict and we forecast and it comes to pass, that to me is not the solution. It will always flood in Nigeria because we have few months of heavy rainfall in the northern part of the river where the water comes in at a large volume of water at a particular time.